Routine. So this is an interesting one. This is a kind of survival horror kind of vibe kind of game, and it was first announced in 2012, and then it went into development to hell for years, and they started working on it again in 2022. They showed it at one of these showcases. I think it was an Xbox showcase. And now the game is finally on track to release. So now we're getting the hands-on from IGN. So let's check it out. See what they're talking about.
As a lover of puzzle games, what can elevate my puzzle-solving experience more than having horrifying monsters breathing down my neck and ready to snap said neck if I fail to solve their puzzle in time? I love these types of games that keep me on edge for hours on end, so Routine is exactly the type of aesthetically pleasing and brutally tense kinds of horror experience I'm always on the lookout for. And with a deeply cool 80s tech Lunar setting and the beginnings of a story that has me interested in seeing more, I'm willing to overlook some of the things I was less impressed by during the roughly 90-minute demo. It remains to be seen if the story will pay off as much as its promising setting and compelling vibe might imply, but I'll definitely be diving deeper in the future to see how it shakes out.
I like the 80s like found footage kind of vibe to it. Like they got that nice film grain filter over the top of it.
Routine is one of those horror games where you're forced to run around solving little puzzles while absolutely horrifying monsters stalk the halls, ready to kill you on sight if you fail to avoid their notice. You know, in the same vein as something like Alien Isolation or My Friendly Neighborhood. That comes with all the same pros and cons as its genre peers, where you have these really tense moments as you manage to solve a puzzle and rush through a door just before the bad guy you can't possibly hope to kill catches up with you. But you then also have plenty of instances where you're stuck in a room waiting for the dumb bad guy to turn around and walk away, leading to lots of moments where the tension sours into a monotonous waiting game. I tend to really enjoy these kinds of protracted hide-and-seek sequences, even if they do occasionally involve a bit of waiting, so this was right up my alley. In this particular case, I found myself on a moon base that had been taken over by killer humanoid robots, whose lidless, unblinking eyes searched for me as I repaired various broken electrical systems and tried to get through each area unnoticed. The ambiance of this dilapidated lunar base with an 80s tech aesthetic really worked for me, clearly drawing inspiration from fellow retro tech science fiction worlds like Alien. But Routine also brings with it a unique sense of humor, with silly arcade games to play in between sweat-inducing horror sequences and cheeky, non-murderous robot helpers to find along the way. This is one of the biggest ways in which Routine sets itself apart, as its immaculately creepy vibes, unique retro aesthetic, and tongue-in-cheek jokes in between bouts of utter terror all coalesce in ways I haven't seen before. I didn't get a very strong sense of whether or not the story will deliver something worth all the stress and jump scares along the way, but hopefully all this neat world building will translate into something as awesome as the setting. With some solid environmental storytelling and hints at some kind of mysterious viral disease at work, it has certainly piqued my curiosity. The areas I explored ranged from fairly unremarkable.
I was just gonna say this kind of reminds me like of an 80s Atomic Heart. A little bit less over the top and fantastical as that game was or is, I should say. But yeah, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this so far.
Metallic hallways filled with busted droids and signs of something catastrophic having happened recently, to really neat areas like an abandoned arcade with janky retro games to play and a shopping mall littered with debris. I'm a tad skeptical that they can manage to keep things interesting when you're stranded on a fairly generic space station on a barren rock in outer space, but hey, so far, so good. Although much of the demo I played featured some fairly by-the-numbers puzzles, like finding codes around the world to enter into a keypad to unlock a door, it also had some neat mechanics built around the cat device you're given early in the story. This tool is basically just a handheld camcorder that can also do things like fire an electrical bolt at targets in your path. What's cool though is that it evolved as I progressed, like when I unlocked an ultraviolet mode called the Ultra View module that allowed me to see trace substances like bloodstains that helped me solve some of the space station's more unintuitive riddles. I only unlocked 2 modes in my time with it, but it's clear that upgrading this bad boy is going to be the primary way in which you power up, and so far I like the idea quite a bit. It'll be interesting to see what clever new uses they find for it. While you upgrade your
Control kind of set the tone with that, and then just other games kind of just follow. There's a bunch of games where you just get one weapon and it has multiple modes and you have to upgrade each mode. I could be ignorant in saying that Control kind of set the tone for that, but as far as like games within the past 10 years that I can think of, yeah, Control was the biggest one to where you had that kind of vibe going. I could be wrong. Y'all could correct me in the comments, as y'all often do.
CAT, read snippets of lore around the space station, and solve puzzles, you'll find yourself almost constantly hunted by extremely violent robots that chase after you on sight with intent to kill. Naturally, that makes even the most simple brain teasers that much more stressful, as you spend every other second double-checking over your shoulder or wincing when you hear a robotic sound come from somewhere nearby. It's not exactly an original premise, but it's certainly the classic type of horror gameplay I've come to know and love over the years, and something we could definitely use more of. One thing that was a bit disappointing, at least during my extremely early time with the story, is just how easy it was to outsmart the fairly dim robots hunting for me, to the point where I was never actually killed during my time playing. They make a ton of noise as they march around electronically, give up the chase as soon as you start running away, since they can't hope to compete with your speed, and don't do a very thorough job searching for you if you're hidden in an obvious corner they haven't bothered exploring yet. But that doesn't mean they aren't still as intimidating as hell. The robotic shrieks they make every once in a while made my skin crawl.
They must be short. This must have been a short demo. That the gameplay done looped 3-4 times already.
Deadly killers, at least early on, but they're still pretty damn stressful to be around nonetheless. For more on Routine, keep an eye out for our month-long coverage of this mechanical horror as part of IGN First. And for everything else, keep stalking the halls of derelict space stations with IGN.
Okay. Pretty straightforward. Let me go do my Thug Dizzle real quick. Routine, a game first announced in 2012. It was in developmental hell till 2022, and now looks like it's finally releasing. Maybe next year or maybe the end of this year. Most likely next year. You have this cat device, which is like a camcorder, which has different modes on it to help you get through the game, and gives you a little bit of combat options. You can shock these robots that are out to get you. You're on like a barren spaceship on a planet somewhere. We don't know much about the story just yet, but we do know we have to get away from these robots because we're not fully equipped to defeat them. So you got to sneak around solving puzzles and figuring out what's going on in this world. It looks interesting. I was interested in it since I saw the first trailer a couple years ago. It's looking like it might be a short game, but we'll see. We're gonna keep an eye on this one for sure. But yeah, y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comments, right? So y'all already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. One.